Hello and welcome to today's tutorial on how to use the application Grapher, which is installed on Apple computers. Today's tutorial and demonstration will show the functions of the icons on the home screen, how to place equations onto the program, how to change colors and/or line strengths of the graph function, and in this instance, how to find the common point, intersection, of a system of two equations with the aid of this graph. To start, we need to bring up a fresh screen of the program. If you have not used Grapher before, it might be sitting in the Applications folder on your computer. I have dragged this application out of the folder and placed the icon on my dock. Either way, you know where the icon is, and you will be able to activate it by clicking on it. The first thing the program brings up is a small query box indicating what it is you would like to graph. Today's instructional exposition will be dealing with a two-dimensional graph using the default settings. Select Choose. As with any venture on a computer, if you are going to save this graph for future reference, now would be a good time to start that task. After all, we would be disappointed to work on a project only to have a technical hiccup and your computer sends the graph to Never Never Land. Let us save this graph to the desktop and label it Test 1. Now that Grapher is up and running on the computer, we should cover and discover the functions that are available on the home screen. To start, in the top left corner we have three interrelated action keys that turn the computer's cursor into action devices. The default setting is a normal cursor icon indicated by the arrow. Selecting the hand and moving it over the graph display, you will be able to place the hand on a specific location of the graph. Click and hold the left mouse function and drag the graph to a new physical center. Notice the hand simulates a grabbing aspect. By selecting the magnifying key and placing the new shaped cursor onto the graph, we can magnify, that is, decrease range and increase perspective of the selected clicked spot. Notice that the axes now shift. They are no longer in the center of the graph. The idea behind this key is to be able to find an interesting section of a curve and get a good look at it. To the right of the action keys are the zoom in, zoom out, center origin, and equalize axes functions. Though they are pretty much self-explanatory, let's see them in action. Zooming in, zooming out, center the origin, and equalizing the axis. We will have to recenter the graph and we will have to hit the equalize axis functions just in case the graph gets out of whack due to zooming or changing the dimension of the Grapher program. This equalize axis tool makes the x and y increments the same size, which is ideal for understanding curves and relationships. To the far right is a blue icon labeled Inspector. We will see this feature in action later in the video when we want to change colors of the graphed curve. However, an equation needs to be selected in order to show its functionality. Below the inspector icon is a summation symbol. For the purpose of this video, we will not be using this function. Our last special interest function is located at the very bottom left of the application. This little rectangle with a bold plus sign in it is used for adding or starting a new equation to be graphed. So we are all set to start loading information into the program. Let's start by putting the cursor into the equation section above the graph, right next to y equals. Our first equation to graph will be y equals x plus 1. Once that is typed in, press the return key and voila! You will see the graph of that function. Also notice that to the left of where we typed in the equation is an area with the same equation highlighted in blue or gray and a box checked. This check mark means that the equation is being displayed on the graph, and the blue-gray highlight means that the equation is selected for some sort of equation input, as well as this equation will be bold on the displayed graph. By clicking in the check-marked box, the graph equation goes away. I have selected 4 different equations to work with today. They are conveniently placed on a document to the right of Grapher. So let's load them into the program. We will type in the equation and select Enter. Then click on the plus icon in the lower left to load another equation. Uncheck all the boxes of the equations except the top one, as we will be changing the color of that graph next. Notice that I selected the top equation and the graph became dark or bolder. We need to have this equation selected so that the inspector function will know what equation to change colors. Click Inspector and notice a drop-down box appears. We want to click in the rectangle that has the black color in it. The outer border of the black box turns gray and a color palette appears. We can select several different ways to pick a color. For this equation, let's pick the color magenta. Uncheck this equation and now check the second equation. This time let's pick the color orchid, but since it is not very bright, we could make it a bit bolder. Go back to the Inspector drop-down and select the rectangle with the zigzags in it. A Line Styles drop-down now appears. All we want to do is change the width of the line, so select Line Width and type in 2 or 2.0 and press the Enter key. Uncheck this equation and check the third one. We will select the color clover. Uncheck this box and check the fourth one. Find the color salmon and select it. Also, let's change the curve to a dash line and increase the width to 3. Now close up all the drop-down boxes and uncheck the last equation. But check the top 2. In Algebra 1 courses, students are first taught to find a solution to a system of equations by graphing them. If these 2 equations are a system, we would like to know what they have in common. In this case, they have 1 point in common, and we can see that this is where the 2 lines intersect. Even though it is good to learn how to graph, sometimes our hand-drawn graphs get messy or distorted. Having a polished display can give us a quality answer, so we see that the lines intersect at the XY coordinate 1, 2. Now check the other 2 equations and have all 4 equations displayed on the graph. Because only the blued or selected equation is bold, we will have to get all equations selected in order to view them better. Move the cursor up to the ribbon on the top of the screen and click on Edit. The second to the last selection from the bottom of the drop-down box has a Select All function. Click it and notice that the equations are selected and all the graphs are bold. If asked, what point do all 4 of these equations have in common, we could easily analyze the graph and find the answer. However, by using the action keys, we could center the point and zoom in just to make sure they are common and not merely close. Not too much doubt about it now, is there? Don't forget to save the graph, and happy graphing to everyone.